It's the opportunity Philippe Pret perhaps was praying for, because he gets a better exit out of the Parabolica. No overtaking before the safety car line, but he's put his car right alongside Renate Hutasoy. If he can maintain this, he does get the job done before they even reach the first chicane, and Tanny Hanna is looking very lively as well. This could become more of a pinch point than ever before, as we have something like 20 cars all trying to make their way through this sequence, which is the first chicane. But fingers crossed, breath held, they all seem to be getting through all okay. But Philippe Pret, he set that up perfectly at the restart, Nico.
Absolutely. He anticipated where Hutasoy would get going, would put his foot down, and I mean, as if he had mastered that, if he'd practiced that very moment, perfectly done, no hesitation, no uncertainty. Well done. David Dicker, I'm sorry, dropped a few places through that chicane. He's still leading in class, but got overtaken by some of the other drivers. Still no indication on Go Max, one of the drivers who overtook him, on whether that's going to be his position or if any penalty is coming his way.
Well, it is under investigation, and under investigation within the race. So as Nico has identified, we should be made aware of any penalties that are going to be applied to Go Max. In the meantime, Philippe Pret, now he's been almost released by Renato Hutasoy. Philippe Pret is just getting up the road. Bear in mind the experience he has at the Monza circuit, I think, is always going to be advantageous. It was 7/10 that he'd gotten. Nico, you were talking about whether any penalty would be applied.
It's on screen for you. Yeah, Go Max, no surprise there. That was a very easy job, I guess, for the people in race control to take a look at that picture, look at it again, and make a decision.
Yeah, it weren't going to be contested, was it? Let's be truthful. So the cars then, and this great shot as they make their way around the Parabolica, and Philippe Pret, to be fair, hasn't increased his margin. Hutasoy, if anything, has taken a couple of tenths out of Philippe Pret. Is Hutasoy going to have a go into this chicane? He's not close enough. He, of course, will be in this invidious position in P2 of trying to hunt Philippe Pret ahead, but also trying to defend from Tanny Hanna. Whilst Tanny Hanna is in a different class, that will make no difference. In terms of the race result overall, Tanny Hanna will still want to try and get as far up the order as he possibly can. He's got a 3-place cushion before the next Shell driver, which is Jan Binzing, running in P7 at the moment. But Tanny Hanna on track, he's running in P3 and leading his Shell driver's class. Doing a very good job. Tanny Hanna, it has to be said, is another one that's got experience of this Monza circuit, because for many, many years, Nico, Monza has always been the circuit that hosts the opening round of the Ferrari Challenge in Europe.
Absolutely, and Tanny Hanna has raced extensively in Europe on this circuit, and like Philippe Pret, he knows the pinch points, he knows the small subtleties. We'll have another look. Did he cross the line first?
I think he was along. He wasn't behind, was he?
Well, certainly on our timing screen there was no position change as they came over the line. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of a second there were, but
this is where the rule is maybe a bit ambiguous, because no overtaking before the safety car line. As far as I'm concerned, when you looked at that then on that picture, Philippe Pret was alongside Hutasoy. Some parts of his car were alongside Hutasoy. He wasn't behind him.
Well, and that's probably, we'll have to dig up the sporting regulations again. If you're strictly overtaking is, I think, the second or the moment that you are front.
Yeah, okay. And there were certainly other cars behind that were overtaking before the safety car line.
Well, we have no indication on our timing screen
we don't.
that this restart is under investigation. It might still come up, but thus far we have no indication that he was adjudged to have done anything wrong. Philippe Pret wasn't.
So the leader of Shell is Tanny Hanna, who's coming under some pressure now from Martin Berry, who kicks the back end of his car out. Martin Berry, who of course is in the Pirelli class, but Martin Berry, who is P4 in the race overall at the moment, is chasing down that Tanny Hanna car ahead of him. Here is race leader Philippe Pret. And P2 is Renato Hutasoy. Then we see the Tani Hanna and Martin Berry battle that's going on ahead of Alex Au and Negro. Negro ahead of Alex Au at the moment.
And Au, remember, he was P1 in the overall standings in the Pirelli. He's currently P3. And remember, I said Hutasoy had taken the lead. Forget about that. It's Philip Pratt in P1 now.
Yes.
So it's that close in the Pirelli. We're certainly not going to have a decision.
I was going to say, if Pratt wins this, he doesn't win the championship, does he?
No, not by any stretch of the imagination. It's really, really close. But absolutely, Au really wants and needs to get past Negro to collect as many points and minimize the areas he'll be in after this race if everything stays like that out front.
Well, look at that gap between Negro and Alex Au now, down from 7/10 to just 1/10. Some great racing going on in particularly challenging conditions, it has to be said, where visibility is still at a premium and where Tani Hanna is continuing to try and take the race to Renato Hutasoy, and in turn trying to defend against Martin Berry. So 7 minutes of the race remaining, which has been started behind the safety car with one safety car intervention during the course of the race. So the start is under investigation, overtaking before the finish line.
There's no specification of a car number, so the suspense is kept up intentionally or not by the race control.
Now, I'm confused by that because I always thought it was before the safety car line, which is different to the finish line.
Those are the subtleties which make it so interesting and sometimes a little confusing, to be honest, even for us who follow these races all season long.
We are reaching the end of the season now, and we're both extremely tired.
Don't say that.
So Tani Hanna still showing a clean pair of heels to Martin Berry, and the Negro Au fight continues just behind. Then it's Yanbin Zing, who's running in P7 at the moment. Tiger Wu is P8, Ken Sato P9, and Yamaguchi is P10. So rounding out the top 10 for you, 1.1 seconds is the gap that Philippe Pret has on Renato Hutasoy at the moment. Keep saying Renato Hutasoy, it's Rinaldi. There's David Dicker then, who by dint of just being out on the track has won the championship. So apologies to Rinaldi, calling his Christian name wrong. And you know why that is? It's because of the old Renata D'Amato race driver in the Ferrari Challenge. I say old, that's unfair. But it is Ronaldo Hutasoy, who is P2, having led this race, but is now 1.3 seconds behind the new leader, Philippe Pret.
There's only just over 5 minutes to go, so it's not a lot of time for those who still want to improve on their positions to do so. And yeah, visibility and spray don't necessarily make it that much easier either.
No, you're absolutely right. So no more information with regards to the investigation on the restart from the safety car. David Dicker and Chen then 1.1 seconds apart. There is the David Dicker car, who, as I mentioned, just by starting the race was going to be and become the champion. Now, Philippe Pret was very, very slow out of that chicane, just allowing Ronaldo Hutasoy to get perhaps a little bit closer. However, Hutasoy there, you can see, has set the fastest lap with a 2:03.871, but the time is running out because the clock is kicking down, and the margin of 1.2 seconds behind between Pret and Hutasoy. So Pret, Hutasoy, Berry, then it's Negro, Au, and Sato in the Pirelli classification, or category, I should say. It's not a classification yet because we've still got 3 3/4 minutes of the race to run. Philippe Pret leading. Still no further information with regards to who is potentially under investigation. Yes, we have under investigation for the restart is Jay Chang.
Down there in P14.
Yeah, so it's hardly hardly going to upset the... although Chang is running in that P3 position in the Shell classification at the moment.
Yeah, but for Philip Pratt, that...
Shell Am, I should say.
In his team particularly, that's going to be a sigh of relief that it's not about
Well,
him.
I was clearly wrong, wasn't I? Not for the first time.
Well, you have to give back that pound that you got earlier, I guess.
So, car 579 is going to get a time penalty of 25 seconds at the end of the race. So that is going to take him out of a podium place, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's going to drop him very, very far down, because after the safety car, everyone's bunched up, and that's obviously ruining his race, sadly.
Well, rules are rules, and grip is something which was not found there by the 558 car of Kent Chen.
Philip Pratt with a new fastest lap on the previous one, but Hüttesold not far behind on the last lap, and overall it's just 6/10 between them as we have 2 more laps to go. Still everything in this race, and you can sense Alex Au probably wishing the two will have a coming together.
Yes.
And him being the big beneficiary in the championship, but I don't necessarily think that, and I definitely think that that's more than 6/10 at this stage of the lap.
I agree with you. So Philippe Pret and Rinaldi Hüttesoy then, Blackbird concessionaires and Ferrari Jakarta represented by those 2 cars here at Monza for this Finale Mondiale weekend, and the first race of the weekend for the Asia Pacific drivers that we're enjoying out on track. And Philippe Pret with that 2:03.376, the fastest lap, and quite a lot of debris in the cooling vents at the front of both of those cars, to be honest, and neither of those cars, to my knowledge, has been off the track. It's just foliage that has fallen from the trees around this Monza circuit that's found its way onto the track and has been blasted into the cooling vents of their 488 cars. But with temperatures which are decidedly not warm, operating temperature for these 488 cars is not a problem. Tani Hanna then is trying to defend his P3 overall position from Martin Berry. Martin Berry was taking a look just before they were heading towards the Parabolica. Now, whether Martin Berry is going to be able to set a move up potentially for the next lap, and we are now on the final lap because the leaders have crossed the start-finish line.
It has to be said that this back straight, the drivers are taking a bit of an unorthodox line, because usually you...
There's a mistake from Philippe Pret. He shortcutted the chicane. Now, I don't think he'll be penalised by that, because I don't think he's gained anything by it, because he would have had to slow to avoid the pollards, which delineate that inner part of the chicane. But he was obviously carrying too much speed. That was potentially allowed Rinaldi Hüttesoy to get a little bit closer. Whether he's going to be able to find his way past, he could do with another mistake like that, truthfully. Here you can see Philippe Pret under braking. He goes wide, turns in, loses the back end of the car, and then, as I say, he has to slow significantly to avoid the bollards within the runoff area there.
Did well with that.
He did. Held that nicely. So I don't think he's gained any particular advantage, and therefore I think that will stand, won't it? I don't think he'll get penalised for going off the track there. So Rinaldi Hüttesoy then, who had the opportunity to get a little bit closer, probably didn't seize that as much as he would like. But to be fair, Philippe Pret didn't slow as much as I thought he would either.
No, I agree. There will be no penalty dished out for that, which is understandable because he didn't gain a position. On the other hand, if there had been a wall rather than those bollards, it would have been a very different question as to the effect of that mistake.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I just saw that Katicha Chimsiri is backmarking car.
This is the last turn.
Whoa!
Sideways moment there.
Rinaldi doing everything he could to try and close that gap to Philippe Pret, but it's done and dusted because the checkered flag awaits. Philippe Pret, who takes the win from Rinaldi Hüttesoy. And Tani Hanna is going to hold on to that P3 place overall and is the winner of the Shell class. And then it will be Martin Berry, Angelo Negro, then Alex Au and Yan Bin Zing ahead of Tiger Wu, Ken Sato. Then it will be Yamaguchi, Zen Lo, and David Dicker will finish the race P12, but it matters not because David Dicker wins the championship with that race participation. That's all it needed. So sure enough, David Dicker crosses the timing line. Here comes Jay Chang, who of course has got a time penalty to come. Is that right?
Chang, yes, definitely. 25 seconds, so he won't be P2. When it's podium time, it will be Chen and Moon joining Dicker on the podium there.
Yeah.
Well done. I think it was a very interesting race with some
additional drama factors thrown in for good measure.
Absolutely. And talking about drama, I'm going to give you the points in the Pirelli for tomorrow. By my reckoning, we have Philip Pratt at 175 points.
Yes.
Hutasoid and Au level terms 174, and that changed